Hey, what's up you guys? Brandasauresrex here, coming at you with another MonsterArts review. So today we're going to be reviewing the MonsterArts Godzilla 1964, the Emergence of Godzilla version. Oh my god, if I haven't complained at all or too much about a Godzilla name or an MonsterArts name for a figure, this one has got to take the cake. This name is way too long. So before we take a look at the figure and its accessories, let's bust out the magic box and let's take a look at that. So for accessories, Godzilla 64 comes with the regular Tamashii Nations display base, pretty cool, average display base, the arm, the Act 4 arm, pretty cool nonetheless, nothing different here, and last but not least, the new Atomic Breath edition, which is pretty cool. I love the way this looks. It has this blue hue to it. It looks very clean and pretty, nice whites going on. Because it should be more black and white traditional, you know, because the movie is in black and white. So it's cool that that is in black and white. I love it. Give me more of it. So quickly, I just briefly wanted to show off the Godzilla 64 with the beam effect. This is actually the original 64 Godzilla, and it pretty much looks exactly the same as the other Godzilla. It's just a simple repaint. So you can imagine either one of these guys with the beam effect in it. And just so I'm being completely thorough, I'm going to slide this one over and slide this guy in there. And there you go. So you can see both of them with the beam effect. So just a heads up guys, the beam effect and the whole port for the axe stand to go into does not completely connect. You have to twist it on a little bit and you'll see this little gap. If I can zoom in, let's take a quick cut. So as you can see, there is a bit of material of the peg still hanging out, and it's not completely submerged inside of the beam effect, and I don't know exactly why that is. I do not believe the hole in the beam effect is long enough to support the axe stand, so that's probably the case. But either way, it's still cool, but I'm not going to use it. This is just going to go in a little baggie in my accessories box, and I'm never going to use it because I never use these axe stands unless I'm supporting something that's really heavy. So I'm guessing a lot of you guys are kind of sitting around asking yourself, why do you need the new Godzilla 64 figure? So what I'm going to try to do right now is take some comparison photos just for you guys, so you guys can make your own evaluation if you need this figure, and then I'll kind of explain which one do I prefer after these shots are over. Let's enter into a quick montage so that I can show you guys the beautiful details on these figures. So I know a lot of you guys are going to ask me, which Godzilla do I actually prefer? Do I prefer the original 64 figure, or do I prefer the new repaint? And I gotta say it, I am liking the repaint slightly a bit more. The new added paint and the new color scheme that he has going on just makes him stand out a bit more on my shelf comparing to all the other Godzillas that I have that are pretty much in this kind of color scheme. So to have a Godzilla that looks slightly different is pretty cool, and I gotta say I quite enjoy it. I can't complain about a Godzilla who stands out comparing to like 3 other Godzillas who have the same kind of charcoal gray coloring, so it's cool to have something new. Okay, so quickly I just wanted to mention something that is just my personal preference, but with this Godzilla I do suggest buying yourself some fake sand. It goes hand in hand with this figure perfectly, as you saw in the beginning of this video. This Godzilla is a Godzilla that emerges himself out of the sand in his first appearance in this movie, which is very iconic and very different from many other Godzilla movies. So I highly do suggest you getting some incredible sand. So as fast as possible, I just want to talk about the articulation on this guy, because I did go over the articulation on the first one. So I'm just going to briefly go over this one. The head is on a ball peg. The mouth opens and closes. The neck has 3 joints, so you can get them to look down very far. Actually, I'm very surprised to see how far this goes down. Pick it back up. So the arms can move up about that. Oop, popped one off. Oh no, what did I do? What did I do? So the arms can move about this far up, not too much. They can swivel at the elbow, which is pretty cool. It's only one swivel, and then they can bend at the elbow. Pretty cool. Not too much, about a 90-degree angle. The wrists do rotate. They're on ball pegs, so whatever pose you could think of, Godzilla can get it into. Pretty cool. So whatever dynamic poses you want to do with the arms, you can do so. So moving down to the, I want to say the abdomen. It's not really the waist, because I feel like this would be Godzilla's waist here. So this is kind of like the abdomen area. But at the abdomen area, he can swivel all the way around, which is pretty cool. I don't want to do it because this figure came in 2 pieces at one point. If you saw my unboxing, you would know that. But yeah, so swivel all the way around, pretty cool. This is a cool engineering on their part, which I don't know if I'm a big fan of. I saw this, it's basically on the first one, but this hip joint kind of pops out about that far on both sides, which I don't know what the purpose of that is for, but it does actually make it like so that Godzilla can do these weird splits, and then you could pull it out more and it becomes like a split. Like he's basically doing a split, which is really weird for a Godzilla figure, because Godzilla really doesn't have this range of flexibility, especially in any movie that I've seen him in. I've never seen him do a split like this, and there's no scene in Godzilla vs. Mothra where he does a split like this. So I don't know what the point of that is. And then his legs can kick up pretty far, about that far. That's pretty cool, pretty great for a Godzilla figure. And he has a great double jointed knee, one point here, 1 point here. Really cool. And then it comes down to the weakest feature on this figure, which is the feet. The feet have a separation, actually, which I find interesting. There's a separation right here. These 2 parts, completely 2 different parts, and it's weird. I don't exactly see the point of this. One solid piece would have been perfect, but I guess to get it looking flat on the floor, they needed to make it 2 pieces. I really don't understand it, but they did paint the bottom a bit, as you can see. I'm noticing that for the first time. But yeah, so there's a little bit of articulation here. It can move back and forth, and then at the ankle it can move side to side, which is pretty cool. And then moving on to the back of the tail, he has a couple of ball joints, just a lot. So like here, 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 here. Very segmented tail, and it's very strong too. This reminds me a lot of the Godzilla 2014 that just came out, the Spitting Fire, which had a very strong tail comparing to its counterpart. So this original figure was pretty strong with its tail too, so I imagine that this one would be just as great in quality. So overall, I am happy with the articulation. So now that we have the articulation out of the way for Godzilla, now let's put him in some size comparison so you can get the idea of how tall or small this figure is. So I'm going to be putting him aside some Revoltech and some MonsterArts figures so you can get a good idea of where he falls into the scale of super articulated kaiju figures. So to wrap up this review, I'm just going to be honest with you guys and just flat out tell you, because I know a lot of you guys are going to ask the question, hey, why do I need this figure if it's just a standard repaint? If it's the same figure I have, why do I need another one? And I'm going to be honest with you, you really don't need another one, but this one is a lot cooler than the original one. Like I said before, this figure stands out a lot more against the rest of my Godzillas, so any Godzilla that stands out and doesn't look the norm makes me just more excited and giddy, because this looks absolutely amazing. I love how this figure came out. It is fantastic. The sandy body makes him stand out more. Even the spikes on the back make him stand out just a little bit more too. I love how this came out. Comparing to the original one is adorable. It's awesome. I love it. I can't get enough of it. I couldn't stop messing around with it for like 3 months because of how awesome it was. But I just prefer this one just a little bit more. It just feels more unique and it stands out just a bit more, just a little bit more on my shelf. And that's something I like. I like a figure that has shelf presence. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you did enjoy the review and you liked the review, make sure to like the video to let me know that you liked the review. With that being said, I hope you guys go check out the a.c.b.a. Facebook page. I will leave a link to that down below, and maybe you can get on the waiting list that is like years long to enter the group and post your lovely display art there. And make sure to check out my brother's channel at the Pop Culture Collectors on YouTube and all that good stuff. I'll leave a link to that also down below, so please go subscribe to his channel. He is releasing some very cool NYCC footage that he recorded, and also some Funko Pop stuff that he had picked up in the present. So yeah, so go check that out. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys later with another review, so peace out.
That's crispy.